who is the best CC class for the Ashava fight this weekend. I've been going through our options, and I think the Ice Sorc is probably the best answer. Now that we have some updates and nerfs thanks to Lorthric, we know it's going to be much harder to take her down this weekend. But with a limit of 21 skill points, we're all going to have to choose between doing damage or surviving. The main goal of this build is to get as much crowd control as possible, and Ice has this in spades. Alright, sorry for the long intro, let's dive in. And we grab Frostbolt first, throw a bolt that deals 35% damage and chilling them for 15%. Then grab the first room, Enhanced Frostbolt, because we have to. Frostbolt has a small chance to explode on chilled enemies, which doesn't matter, because it has a 100% chance to explode on frozen enemies. But the main one we want is Flickering Frostbolt. For this, Frostbolt makes frozen enemies, when she's stunned, vulnerable for 3 seconds. So now when she's stunned, if you spam Frostbolt, she's vulnerable the entire time. This is huge. Yes, we want to apply a lot of CC, but if we can constantly have her vulnerable during the stun phase, then that's a big deal for everybody else trying to do damage. Now for the core skills. Frozen Orb is pretty much the only choice for this build. This will apply 34% chill as it flies, and then explode for an additional 8% chill effect. The first node isn't that important, it just increases Frozen Orb's damage when it casts over 50% mana, which we don't care, but we really care about the Greater Frozen Orb rune. This gives Frozen Orbs an explosion and a 25% chance to cause vulnerability for 2 seconds. And just like Frostbolt, frozen enemies are always vulnerable. You might have noticed that we don't have a lot of CC yet, which is where Frost Nova comes in. This applies freezing for 2 seconds. But unfortunately, I can only assume that hard CC will fill Ashava's stun bore more than soft CC. That makes logical sense to me. So this is what I'm working around in this build. Enhanced Frost Nova is useless for the Ashava fight, but it's great for clearing dungeons and anything else you do. Then we get Mystical Frost Nova, which makes bosses vulnerable for 6 seconds. Not a chance, it just does it, straight up. But now we have an issue. It has a 24-second cooldown, which sucks. Before we move on, we're going to grab Teleport, our movement ability, grab the 2 nodes for reduced damage. I'll go over legendary aspects later, but we're going to grab Ice Armor here too. Shout out to H3 Gaming for letting me use the Ice Sorc fight in the background. Ice Blades are awesome. They last for 6 seconds and straight up have a 30% chance to cause vulnerability. Just like that. And the first rune is perfect for us too. When Ice Blades hit a vulnerable enemy, which Ashava will always be vulnerable, the cooldown is reduced by half a second. And then we're going to grab the Invoked Ice Blades node, which gives Ice Blades plus 10% attack speed per active Ice Blade. The secret here is the enchantment. We're going to use Frost Nova enchantment because, like Rax pointed out in his build guide video, this gives the perk that Lucky Hit by Conjurations Ice Blades have a 30% chance to cast Frost Nova. Now, I went over Lucky Hit in a previous video, so I'll jump straight into the math here. Ice Blades have a 70% Lucky Hit chance, so 30% of that means Ice Blades have a 21% chance to cast Frost Nova on each attack. I watched some videos and it seems like Ice Blades have about 1 attack per second. There's some variation, but this makes it easier to do the math. And if we consider travel time, this means Ice Blades should attack 5 times-ish for its duration. And 21% of 5 is about 1. So that means each cast of Ice Blades will also cast Frost Nova at least once every 6 seconds. Just looking at the numbers, using Frost Nova enchantment is the way to go. When I originally looked at this build, I considered using the Frost Blade enchantment and being the one to cast Frost Nova myself. However, I don't think the cooldown reduction would be down to 6 seconds, and it would mean I have to put myself in dangerous situations near Ashava, and we all know I don't like that. Now that the base of the build is established and we kind of know what we're going to do, let's look at legendary aspects that we want. These are in no particular order or location. Sorry. Prodigy's aspect uses cooldowns to restore mana, which is good. Everliving aspect reduces damage from CC'd and vulnerable enemies. So by us keeping Ashava vulnerable, we live longer. Aspect of Fortune increases Lucky Hit while we have a barrier. And this is why we spec Ice Armor, because it increases our Lucky Hit chance for Ice Blades, increasing our chance to cast more Frost Novas. Exploiter's Aspect, increase CC duration by 20%, just helping fill up her stun bar faster. Aspect of Concentration, which increases mana regeneration if we haven't taken damage for 3 seconds. Considering Ashava hits really hard, we want to avoid damage anyway. Aspect of Frozen Orbit, Frozen Orb now stays in place at the end and explodes 2 additional times. This will give us some more CC from the explosion, but also if you're playing with this build, you can spec the 2 additional nodes in Frozen Orb that will basically give it about a 75% chance to proc vulnerability on the explosion at the end. And on that note, let's take a look at the Ashava fight in this next video.